Well, it's time for you to look into your swag bags again, and I want you to pull out the pen. Because this is no ordinary pen. This is a magical pen. So, yes, it will write like a pen. You can use the other end as a stylus for your phone or your iPad. It's also got a level. Ooh, y'all supposed to be, ooh, ah. It not only has one ruler, but it has two rulers for those of you who actually use centimeters. And then if you unscrew the stylus part, you don't have one screwdriver, you've got two screwdrivers. That's pretty amazing, don't you think? So, with its various purposes and its various functions, a multi-tool pen like this can do a lot of amazing things. Similarly, effective data governance ensures that data is accurately recorded, properly measured, and securely managed, all while being ready to tackle any data-related challenge that comes its way. Both are essential for keeping things in order and aligned. So just like we use tools like this to continually improve our daily tasks, data governance aims to do the same with UA and its data strategy. Align was launched to ensure UA leveraged continuous improvement where people, processes, and technology meet. Andre Taylor is the Data Governance Administrator here at UA and serves with over 10 years of experience in data governance, science, analytics, and automation. Denny Savage is a seasoned higher educational professional with over 18 years of experience in the Office of the University Registrar at UA, where he currently serves as our University Registrar. Please welcome them both as they share about Align.
Check. Everyone hear me? Thank you for the whistle, whoever that was. Awesome. I just should have known Miss Jennifer and known her for years. So I'm a Baptist deacon, so first and foremost, you didn't leave before the benediction, so you are blessed. Thank you so much. But honestly, thank you for staying. It's kind of funny because we're talking about data governance, super snoozer. So I'm going to try to make this as engaging as possible. So this slide has been up all day. Hopefully you've had a chance to scan and answer that question. If you haven't, I'll leave it up for a couple of seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go for it. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. So clicker's not working, so you have a few extra. And just like continuous improvement, we want to always come prepared, right? So backup clicker is now working. All right, so data governance. First, let's talk about what data is. Webster defines data, I'm kidding. I won't go into that. But data is simply information that we use to make a decision. When I was about 5 or 6 years old, I touched a hot stove. My mom kept telling me, get away from that hot stove. You're going to burn yourself. I would not heed her warnings. I touched the hot stove and I burned myself. So at that point, I made a decision based on my burned hand that I do not need to go near the hot metal box, right? And my wife will still attest that I do not go anywhere near the stove, but I just use that as an excuse now. But data comes in many forms, right? So in that case, comes in the form of sensory, right? So when we're little, we sense things and we make decisions based on that. But now here at UA, data can come in the form of our systems, our databases, things we store locally, things on our thumb drives, things we store locally on our computers, Our wonderful emails. Yes, our emails are data because that is information that we use to make decisions in our wonderful, wonderful, beloved spreadsheets. Oh my goodness. Oh, your spreadsheets. All right. So how do we manage this information? How do we govern this information? So with data governance, we have over 25 representatives from across campus that comprise our Data Governance Council. We meet once a month, and they're solely in place to help us with the overall management of this data. We have great discussions. We have topics that we discuss. We decide how we're going to tackle very specific issues. Over our data governance is our data strategy. Our data strategy is simply how are we going to use our data to further the purpose of the university? And we're very fortunate to have great VP buy-in. Our vice presidents make up our executive steering committee, and we meet with them once a quarter, and we say, hey, our council talked about these data-centric issues, we need your input, or hey, we need your support in this, we need to support the data strategy that you come up with, and here's how we can do that in very specific and very strategic ways. Under our data governance, that's our data operations, that's where most of you fall in, so your hands-on with the data on a daily basis, and you're reporting, you're dashboarding, you're looking at the data, trying to figure out how to accomplish the university's missions. Speaking of missions, I love this picture. Thank you, co-pilot. Our mission is simply to set the expectations for organizational behavior. So we like to say data governance is behavioral based, not technology. I attended a conference last year, and in a lot of the forums that I attend, I talk to our counterparts and say, hey, did your data governance program succeed? If not, how can I learn from you? More times than not, very surprisingly, they said, well, we bought this software and we thought if everybody just used this thing that we downloaded, data governance would be good to go. If they just downloaded this thing and we could all just buy in on that, we were good to go, and then our data governance just went out the window. So we said, okay, first, before we start doing that, we need to set some expectations based on our behavior when it comes to our data and our data operations. What's our purpose? Our purpose here, we want to support stewardship, data quality, security, privacy, integration, access, compliance, all that good and wonderful stuff. UA has some phenomenal groups here on campus dedicated to each and every one of these. And we like to partner with those groups to support each one of those when it comes to our data operations. Our vision, we want to ensure that data is treated as an institutional asset. This one is really big. So when we think about things like our cars, our fleet, our laptops, anything the university owns, it has to be inventoried, has to be maintained. Somebody knows where it is. Somebody knows how to clean it. Somebody knows how to tackle the issues that come up. Just like those things, we want to make sure our data is treated the same way. So we want to make sure our data is treated as an institutional asset. And as we heard from our friends at Answers, the power of data-informed decision-making, simply put, we want to improve that wherever we can. So how do we do that? Data governance, people, process, and technology. And this is so important, we even put it on our logo here. I say we, it's mostly just me. People, process, and technology here. That's our foundation. And what we'll look at today are these four pillars: operational efficiency, data quality, privacy, compliance, security, and ethics, and data standards. Before every meeting with our Data Governance Council, our Data Governance Executive Steering Committee, and our Data Governance Stewardship Community, those are the three aspects we have within our program, we put this illustration up before we talk about anything to recenter ourselves in one of these four pillars and say, today we're going to talk about this specific term and how we can handle everyone across campus knowing what this term means, and that's one of our data standards. So if you don't take anything else away from today, burn this image into your brain. If you need me to email it to you, I'll be happy to. But this is the graphic that really outlines how we accomplish what we accomplish. On top of that, our data governance program, and then we can start building the culture of data-informed decision-making, either start building it or improve it where it already is. With this, we inherently support our flagship goals. So specifically, the second flagship goal, to increase productivity and innovation. what better way to do that than to take the guessing out of our data operations, to remove non-value added activities when we're talking about continuous improvement within our data operations. When you're looking at data, how long does it take you to find what you need, look at it, say, okay, I have questions about it, go figure out who to ask my questions to? That's a lot of data curation time, and we want to remove those things and increase productivity. The second flagship goal, we want to recruit, retain, and grow outstanding faculty and staff. What better way to do that than to give all the resources we can when it comes to our data operations here? So, raise your hand if you like jalapenos, the restaurant. Awesome. Everyone better raise your hand. Oh my gosh. If you haven't had the fajita gumbo, what are you doing with your life? So, home of the original fajita gumbo. If you can look at this menu, one thing that jumps out here, all the numbers, look at the numbers next to the entrees. Many of you have seen that. They're not the only ones that do that. They have numbers next to all the entrees there. When you order one of these, some order by the number, some order by the name. But if you say a number 5, what happens between where the person taking your order and the cook know what to put on that plate? There's a certain amount of knowledge that goes on that they have to know, okay, there's a 3 written down. I know that is a combo dinner, an 18, a 34, 29, right? Another example here, a number 7. Here, this is a McDonald's menu. How many of us order by the number when it comes to the extra value meals rather than the actual name, right? It's easier to say 7 than it is Angus mushroom and Swiss extra value meal, please, large Diet Coke and large fry, apple pie. I just got really hungry again. But it's easy to say number 7, right? And there's something that happens after that in our back-end processes, their back-end processes, to know how to translate that into your actual order. My favorite, Waffle House, right? How many times have you gone to Waffle House and you hear what they yell out in the kitchen to the cook sounds nothing like what you told the waitress, right? And you just hope that what they bring you is going to be the thing that you ordered, right? So all these are great examples of a certain amount of literacy, a certain amount of knowledge that you need for those processes to run efficiently, and a certain amount of data literacy in how they operate and what they do to be able to facilitate the services that they're responsible for. So the next time you hear mark, order, scramble plate, drop 4, 3 in a ring, scattered, smothered, covered, you'll think about data literacy, right? Maybe not, that's okay. All right, so data literacy is simply being able to read, understand, create, and communicate data as information. That helps us make informed decisions, problem solve, and identify trends and patterns. So one of our first pillars here, operational efficiency. Let's take a look at this. Can you name maybe 4 devices just in your head? You can shout them out. What do we see? Clock radio, speaker, cassette player, yep. See, there's a Tandy computer, Walkman, right? If you're born after 1999, a Walkman was something we used to play cassettes on. No. CB radio, camcorder. This says VHS camcorder, just to be specific, and a mobile cellular telephone, long name there. But let's pretend that each one of these devices represents our individual groups and the services that we're responsible for, okay? Anybody want to take a guess what year this ad was from? 90s? Ooh, earlier than I heard it back there, 91. 1991. So something very interesting happened between 1991 and 16 years later. Anybody want to guess there? What happened? They almost closed. Yeah, they closed. But yeah, I heard it over here. Steve Jobs said, "Hey, let's send this cool thing out into the world and totally wreck everybody's lives," right? No. So with this, if you think about this, every one of these services and every one of these things is now consolidated into one device. Isn't that crazy? All of a sudden, everything you could do over here is now over here. So these services are now applications, and these applications, as well as this device, are always evolving, right? Always updating. And it always seems like right when you go to click on it, right when you want to go use it, there's an app update, and my Wi-Fi is so slow and I can't update it, and but these apps are always updating to really help the user do what they need to do and to run as efficient as possible. So think about the efficiency that has gone into these apps as opposed to what those devices did. And not only that, 2025, look at your phone now. Think about how far the iPhone came between when it first came out and where it is now. And this really represents what we need to do in our back-end processes for you to be able to offer the amazing innovations that you have, and for you to be able to move together as a department, as a group, also as a university, for us to be able to operate as efficiently as possible. So here it is, the building. Hopefully you had a chance to scan it, to call it out, to talk about it. Anybody want to yell it out? What's this building? B.B. Comer. Okay. We're going to dive into this. Let's look at some of these responses here. I'm going to go over here. 86 responses. Let's see. It's hard to move this looking backwards here. All right, look at, oh my goodness. IDK, that is amazing. That's I don't know for some of us around here. Okay, Smith Hall, BB Comet. That's awesome. Cover Hall, wow, that's just wrong. Okay, so let's look at all these responses. Morgan Hall, and we've established, hopefully, we've established what the actual answer is here. Forms Office, that's not it. Morgan Hall, BB Comer, HM Comer, okay, close, we're getting closer. Lloyd Hall, wow. BB Comer, okay, Smith, which is close. All right, so we've seen a little bit of a data set, right? Let's talk about data quality. One of the major aspects of data quality is what is called system of record. Okay, system of record is simply an authoritative source for data. Where do we go to get the official record for a data source? Okay, a lot of us are familiar with similar reports, right? Where we go one place to get something, but we also could go to another place to get something similar. And then we compare those two reports, and what happens more times than not, it seems like, those numbers do not match, right? And as much of a data nerd as I am, that's one of the most aggravating things. Like, numbers should always match if those reports say they're going to be doing the same thing. And more times than not, that's either because the data's stale, so we've gotten it from a source that hasn't been updated, or the data has come from an unofficial source, right? So our friend down the hall has an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm just going to do this based on that spreadsheet, but little did we know that spreadsheet wasn't updated for the last like 6 years, so now all of a sudden my numbers are off, right? So system of record is when everybody is going to the same pools, going to the same place to get the data that they need, right? So not sure if everyone knew, but UA has a system of record for building information. It's called AIM. AIM is where, from now on, where everyone will go to get that building information, get the official name. Every building on UA's campus has an official name. Thanks to the Data Governance Council, we looked at that. We said, hey, there is a system of record. We need to vote to affirm that all of our systems and databases need to start pulling from AIM when it comes to building information. So, what's the official answer? Okay? BB Comer Hall. Okay? And if you notice, there are no periods between the B's, no periods, no spaces. All right, so how many got that right? Wow, like 4 of you. That's crazy. Forgot the hall. I did too, okay? I did too. But if you think about it, we saw the many different variations of BB Coma, right? We saw how many different responses we had. If there were that many responses for one building taken in one day from just the people in this room, imagine the many variations of numerous data points taken from hundreds of thousands of people over decades, right? That's why data quality is so important, and that's why we really want to focus on system of record. Okay, privacy, security, compliance, and ethics. Let's play some trivia here, all right? Here are just some stats, some fun numbers that'll hopefully highlight the risk of irregular data practices. First one here. In 2023, the average cost of data breaches in the education sector was more than $1 million. Yell out the answer, true or false? True, it was true. $3.65 million per data breach. UA experiences over 40,000 network cyber attack attempts per hour. True or false? True, that one is true as well. These attacks, fortunately, we have great things in place. Our firewalls, our intrusion prevention systems. OIT does a fantastic job. Taylor Anderson's group does a fantastic job preventing these things from stealing our data. Next one. UA experiences around 10,000 email phishing or scam messages per day. False. It's actually per hour. Oh, yeah. So hopefully this says next time we email that spreadsheet with student names and numbers and email addresses and CWIDs and social security numbers and all that good and wonderful stuff, let's maybe think, okay, this email could be one of these that's actually successful. Fortunately, there again, we've been, I think we've had very little of that since I've been here. 1,000 spoof attempted logins per hour. This is where hackers are out there trying to steal your passwords or trying to steal your login information and running the bots to try to log into your systems. 1,000 per hour. False. It is false. 2,000 per hour. Constantly running. Bots are constantly running. So there again, this is why data governance is so important, to look at privacy, security, compliance, and ethics when it comes to data. And there again, there are groups across campus dedicated to these things, and we partner with them to really put a magnifying glass on the data operations. All right, here's an exercise. On the count of 3, I want everybody to yell out your favorite color. And yeah, seriously. Yeah. Yeah, I heard it. I can hear up here. No. No, just yell out your favorite color. Don't be shy. I want to hear just a wall of sound. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Somebody said periwinkle. I would like to meet you afterwards. That is so interesting. And thank you for whoever yelled purple very loudly. Of course, my friend Jennifer down here. Here's an interesting graphic here. Does anybody fall into this age range and their favorites that they yelled out? I'm just curious if there's any validity to that. Like 2 of you. Okay, I'll erase this from future decks. The only thing I would like to, I'm curious about, anybody over 70 whose favorite color is orange in here? Like, this is UA. You can't have, okay, all right. No, okay, no problem. All right, so this time, I'm going to put up a color on the screen. I actually put up 3 colors on the screen. And I want everyone to yell out the color that they see. Here's a big hint. The name of the color is under the square, okay? So the name's going to be up here, okay? So you won't have to guess. It's going to be up here, okay? We have 3 colors, all right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, these are our UA primary colors, as most of us know, right? Did you hear the difference between periwinkle, purple, green, blue, orange, and crimson flame, capstone gray, victory white? This is what happens when we have a standard in place and everybody's unified in doing what they do, right? Did you hear the difference around your team and around you from the first time to the second time? How we were all saying the same thing? This is essentially what we're doing with data governance. We want to take the guessing out when it comes to our data standards. We want to remove the issues that you have to go through to try to figure out if I call this term fall 2025 and across campus I have to talk to somebody and they say term is 2025-40, I'm not speaking their language, so now I have to go speak their language, but I don't know how to say the thing that I need to say. Whereas now everybody's going to say the same thing. We want to standardize where we can. We want to define those standards where we can to take the guessing out of our data operations, okay? So here to talk more about some of the data standards that we've put in place is our registrar, Denny Savage. He's coming.
Oh, now? Yes, all right, very good. Thank you all for having me. So after Andre was hired, he and Rainey asked for a meeting with me to kind of discuss their vision of data governance at UA, and during that meeting, they asked if there were any issues in the registrar's office that maybe the data governance efforts could help with. And I said what I'm sure most of you would have said, which was, I've got enough to do already. Please get out of my office.
Yep.
No. No, I said you came to the right place. Our life is data, so all you can handle. So in my previous role, I ran the technology shop within our office, and so all the data requests for student data would come through me. And most of those requests had something to do with this question: who are my active students? I need a email list of who my current students are. I need a GPA report of those active students. Seems pretty simple. Years ago, I would have, even in my time in the registrar's office, I probably would have answered it with, currently enrolled students. There's your active ones, that's who you care about. But it quickly gets a bit more complicated than that. So right now we're at the end of the spring term. I could easily tell you a list of all students majoring in biology who are registered for at least one class now. But what about if they're not registered for the spring, but they are for the summer, or they are for the fall? What if they were here at the beginning of the semester, they were counted in our census snapshot that's taken at the end of January, but now they've withdrawn from the term? Is that an active student? Is that a current student? What if we're between terms? This comes into play not as much with ad hoc data requests, but with data feeds. We feed hundreds of systems around campus, third-party applications and other areas of student data, and you have that period between terms. If it's December 20th, somebody was enrolled in the fall but not in the spring, are they current? Are they active? Do we care about them? Admitted but not yet enrolled. So right now we've got coming up on Bama Bound orientation. So if someone asks me, I want you to include with my currently registered students everyone who's admitted for the fall, because I might have to communicate with them, but they have yet to go through Bama Bound. But go ahead and tell me that group anyways. Well, the way the admissions funnel works here, if, say, for example, our freshman class last year was just over 8,000 students. To get to 8,000, we have about 42,000 students that get admitted. So if you include all of those with the requests, for every 5 students I give you, only 1 will ever actually come to UA. So, so then it gets to the definition depends on your goal. And those are conversations that we would have when we have those requests come in. Not just take it on face value, but what are you trying to do here? Are you planning for advising or course offerings to make sure you have advisors ready or seats in classrooms? Then maybe we're looking for that broader pool of students of what it could be to make sure we don't short anybody. Are you just attempting to communicate with students, say right now, to remind them about exam schedules or deadlines for the end of the term? Well, then you want those students that are currently registered. You may not care about the students who have withdrawn from the term. If you have retention efforts, You may be specifically looking at students who have withdrawn from this term and are not registered. Or you may be looking to drop out a population of students. I don't care about the students who, and you still care about them. I'm not worried about the students who have applied for graduation this term. They're not going to be here going forward. I need that other population of students. So this quickly became a broader effort as we tried to define not only what a student is, but an active student. You can see how specific we had to get. While confusing, it is very specific. A student who is registered for at least one class in a term or is eligible to enroll in a term without being required to apply for admission to the university, subject to holds or student statuses preventing registration. So again, not the clearest sounding definition, but it is very specific. We know who this population is. Again, at UA, students, as long as you don't miss 3 consecutive terms, you can continue to register without being readmitted. And we even added that admitted students who have yet to register, that population I just talked about, are not considered active students. So impact and benefits from just this seemingly small effort. When we're talking to people, whether it be about reporting or just in general, as somebody's buying a software application and we're trying to decide what population of students need to be, have access to it or be pushed into that, we're talking the same language. We both are looking at this definition when we're either discussing a report or deploying reports to the colleges, to the departments. We can clearly define this is the population you're seeing, or here are the options, and you can select which population you want to see. Now, this effort did blow up pretty quickly and became much more complicated. These are just some of the additional definitions that we went through, and this is going through this with institutional research and Andre's team and admissions and financial aid and student accounts. Everybody has seemingly different definitions, but again, quickly expands beyond student or even active student to a variety of terms that need to be defined. Now, before I go, I'd be remiss not to mention that Andre's agility extends beyond campus. He mentioned his role as a deacon. He's also coached my now 12-year-old to 2 consecutive flag football championships. So he practices what he preaches with his agility. All right, back to you, Coach.
It was so funny when we met with Denny. We go an entire hour talking about data and, hey, how can we help you out? And at the end, I glance over and see a picture of his son, and I say, "Are you Max's dad?" It's like, "Yeah, that's where we know you from." And it was like all professionalism just went out the window after that. That was a great game. Did you see? Yeah, I did. It was awesome. Anyway, thank you so much. You've been so attentive. Just being here till the end of the day, I definitely appreciate it. The agility team definitely appreciates it. So question, how can you engage with data governance and hopefully in the spirit of continuous improvement, improve your data operations? First, next week we'll have our first data governance course. So if you go to the Agility website, agility.ua.edu, go to the Agility training series. At the very bottom, scroll down, and the last one here is an elective. We'll be teaching that next week on the 24th. And go to our website, align.ua.edu. It's on that fancy pin there that I am extremely proud of. But there again, continuous improvement. One of the main pillars of continuous improvement is stakeholder involvement. So how can you engage with data governance? Go to the website. Down at the bottom, there's a link that just says submit a topic. Submit all of your data concerns, your issues, things that you've seen, things that you've heard about. I would love to hear every single bit of that, because that is where we pull our topics when we present things to the Data Governance Council. It comes straight through here. So please submit any and everything you could possibly think of when it comes to our data operations, and we would greatly appreciate it. Thanks. See everybody at Waffle House, and roll Tide.